stay tuned for the real story of how Dr. SOOT got started. Again, my friend, Martha Neitz.
Well, some of you that I've known for a while in here have heard the abridged version of how Dr. SOOT got started. But in reality, I figured I'd share with you the lessons and how it really happened. In fact, it started when my husband Lou went to the chiropractor. And he's sitting in the lobby, and he picks up a Mother Earth catalog. And he looks at it, and it's got a half-page ad about becoming a chimney sweep. And he comes home and he says, I saw this ad, and I'd like to do this. Love that thought. Let me digress, okay? Because now you need the backstory of how he came to that point. Well, Lou and I met at Advanced Technology Labs in Seattle in 1980. We worked together for 3 years before we became a couple, and ATL had the distinction of being the very first medical ultrasound manufacturer to image a beating heart. Okay, we were on the cutting edge of ultrasound technology. 1980, remember. Mid-90s is when you started seeing it in doctors' offices. That's how long it takes. So we worked together, became a couple, and a couple of years later, we came out here to visit a friend of mine in Denver. Now, during the years that we were together prior to that, we learned how to ski in the Northwest on blue snow. Okay. Basically, it's called ice to most people. We came out here, and my friend took us to Vail and Keystone. And we're looking at each other going, have we died and gone to heaven? It was amazing. So we embarked upon a plan to move from Seattle to Colorado. That was going to be at least a year, probably about 18 months. And we figured, okay, we were a couple, but maybe we ought to get married before we made that kind of a move. So we were married in 1986. And I requested a layoff in 87 in February, came out here, we came out, I had an electronic typewriter, a phone, and a card table, and I started pounding the pavement looking for a job. Well, think about what 87 was. We were in a major recession. I found a job at Honeywell / became Atmel later, and Lou came out, and when he got out here, he goes, now, understand, he was systems test manager, I was running configuration management at ATL. Comes out and he says, I don't want to work in high tech. You're like, okay, that's nice, what are you going to do? He decided to go into sales, but it wasn't the kind of sales you're normally thinking. It's called Great American Foods. So he was doing in-home sales. Great food, ridiculously expensive freezer. But he was being fairly successful, making about 1/3 to half of what he had been making himself. This went on for almost 2 years. And I finally kind of got irritated. So we had one of the relationship conversations where I looked at him and I said, okay, are you making what you think you're worth? And he kind of looked at me and says, I'm making what the market will bear. And I said, let me put it to you a different way. If I weren't supporting you, would it be enough? There was this pregnant pause. And the subject changed. Have any of you had that happen? Well, 3 weeks later, the chiropractor's office. And he comes home and he says, this is what I want to do. And I looked at him and I'm going, here I am in high tech. And I admit, I was a snob. And I'm going, right, okay. And he says, it's $2,500. I said, hey, we piss away more than that in a year. Go for it. If you're going to fail, fail forward. And that was the big lesson. So a different way of Sandra's approach of go big or go home. And quite frankly, the other part of the story, it was the first half bottle of wine that netted us Dr. SOOT. It was the second half bottle of wine that netted us We Treat the Flu.